Have you ever been sized up and dismissed by someone who doesn't know the first thing about you, someone who, for a split second, hold a little power and lets it go straight to their head? You know what I mean, right? That moment when you become invisible, your worth reduced to a bag, a ticket, a stereotype. Most times we shrug it off. But sometimes, well, sometimes that casual disregard collides with the wrong person at exactly the wrong moment, and everything changes. That day at Chicago O'Hare was supposed to be just another routine flight, just another line in a sea of lines. For Dr. Evelyn Reed, CEO of Ascend Air, these secret journeys in coach were her ritual away to keep her finger on the true pulse of the company she'd fought so hard to rebuild. But on this particular day, Zone 4 boarding felt like the front line of a war nobody else realized was happening. She was dressed like anyone else. Old sneakers, a faded Stevie Nicks tee, no hint of status except maybe that well-loved copy of Marcus Aurelius in her hand. No bodyguards, no announcement, just a woman moving quietly through her own airline, testing the system from the inside. On the other side of the boarding podium stood Robert Washington, a man worn down by 15 years of thankless gatekeeping. His badge read Rob, but the look in his eyes said, "Don't mess with me." You could feel his frustration rolling off him like turbulence mortgage overdue, son in trouble, overtime vanishing. He'd seen 1,000 passengers today, and to him, they were all the same obstacles to be pushed through the gate. Rob spotted Evelyn right away. Sweatpants, old t-shirt, that certain set to her jaw. He pegged her as trouble before she even got to the counter, someone who'd argue about her bag, maybe expect special treatment. She smiled and greeted him, cool and polite, offering her phone with a boarding pass. Rob didn't smile back. His gaze slid down to her bags, a rollerboard and a leather satchel. The satchel, clearly a personal item, became his battleground. "That's too big. Gonna have to gate check it," he declared, not even glancing at her pass. Evelyn knew the policy hell. She'd written it. "It fits," she said, calm but firm. "I fly with it all the time." That only set him off. "Been doing this 15 years, ma'am. I know what fits." He made her put the bag in the sizer. She did snug, but it fit. She looked to Rob for a nod, but all she got was anger. Had to shove it in. Holding up the line. He flat out lied, his voice rising. People behind Evelyn began to grumble. The younger agent, Maria, flinched. She saw the truth, but stayed silent. And just like that, it wasn't about a bag anymore. It was about power. It was about a man who couldn't stand being wrong, especially not by her. Evelyn's CEO mask slipped on, her words cool and precise. "Your own policy says this fits. Section 4, subsection B." That threw Rob completely off balance. Passengers didn't quote policy sections. His wounded pride turned into rage. "You people always think you're special," he snarled, crossing a line that hung in the air like a bad smell. Evelyn didn't back down. "I'm taking your name and reporting this," she said. To Rob, that was the final straw. In a flash, he grabbed her arm and shoved her hard against the cold metal frame of the jet bridge. The thud was sickening. Her book flew, her breath knocked out. Silence crashed down. Maria's hands flew to her mouth. Rob, realizing what he'd done, turned pale. Evelyn steadied herself, picked up her book, and locked eyes with him, her calm sharper than any anger. "Robert Washington," she read off his badge, her voice surgical. She cited federal regulations, the company's code of conduct, every line he'd just violated. Maria, wide-eyed, rushed to her side, asking if she needed a medic. "No," Evelyn said, "but I need your supervisor." Now, Rob, hands shaking, radioed for Thompson. Thompson Araveda, a man whose main talent was making problems disappear. He didn't ask what happened. He didn't check on Evelyn. He tried to paper over the incident with a $75 voucher, eager to keep the flight on time. When Evelyn refused, demanding names and employee numbers, the script slipped. "You're not accepting the voucher?" Thompson stammered, eyes narrowing. "No, I'm filing a formal complaint." Evelyn walked away from C-22, head high, heart pounding, anger burning into cold determination. She sat in a quiet corner, dialed customer service. navigated the automated maze she'd approved budgets for, only to discover how little it cared for people in pain. Brenda, on the other end, followed the script. You'll have to file a complaint online, ma'am. No incident number, no escalation, just another brick wall. Undeterred, Evelyn documented everything. She wrote out her complaint in clinical, legal detail, squeezing it into a 1,000-character limit on the website. The reply? We value your business. Please allow 57 business days for a response. Meanwhile, back at C22, Thompson and Rob were crafting their own story, painting Evelyn as the problem, their report of fiction designed to cover their tracks. 3 days later, she got the Emalem Masterclass in corporate deflection. Our staff acted in accordance with procedures. Here's a $150 voucher. We hope you'll give us another chance. That was it. The company she ran, her company, had turned her into a case number and tried to buy her silence. But Evelyn Reed was done being anonymous. She called her assistant, cleared her schedule, summoned every executive to Dallas for an emergency meeting. The next morning, she stood before the board, not in her usual chair, but at the lectern, laying out the case piece by piece. The evidence, the policy violations, the customer service stonewalling, the cover-up stunned the room. Finally, she revealed the truth. Jane Doe was me. The silence was seismic. Careers hung in the balance. Charles Sterling, VP of North American Operations, was suspended on the spot. Rob and Thompson were fired. The entire customer service department was frozen pending overhaul. And in their place, Evelyn announced something radical: the Passenger Zero program. Every employee, from the ramp to the cockpit, would be retrained to treat every passenger as if they were the single most important person in the company. Maria, the young agent who tried to do the right thing, was brought to Dallas to help design the new training. Her conscience and honesty now an asset. It wasn't easy. The old guard resisted. But Evelyn showed up again and again, telling her story to new hires and veterans alike. She made them see the human in every interaction. The company changed slowly, then all at once. Customer satisfaction ticked up, employees felt empowered, and the story of Gate C22 became both legend and warning. Months later, Evelyn returned to O'Hare, Zone 4, Gate C22. She watched a new agent handle a tense situation with calm and empathy, turning a would-be disaster into a moment of connection. Evelyn smiled, boarded quietly, and as the plane lifted off, she allowed herself one tear for what was lost and what was finally being rebuilt. In the end, this wasn't just a story about mistaken identity or power abused. It was a lesson in leadership, the kind that doesn't just punish but transforms. Reed's journey proved that true power lies not in your title, but in your willingness to understand, to feel, and to fix what's broken. If this story struck a chord with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's the worst customer service you've ever experienced? Where's the line between a bad day and a broken system? Share your stories below. Hit like if you think we need more accountability in the world, and subscribe for more true life stories that remind us what's at stake every time we choose to care or not.